Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. We're always told that walking is one of the absolute best things we can do for our health. But what if I told you that for anyone over 60, that simple, celebrated habit could actually be hiding a secret, a risk for a stroke? It's a total paradox, and today we're going to untangle it. So let's just jump right in with the big question. Could your daily walk, the very thing you're doing to stay healthy and independent, be quietly putting your brain at risk? The answer, and this is pretty shocking, is yeah, it can be, especially if you're making a few common mistakes that most of us never even think about. To figure out how to make our walk safer, we're going to break it down into three simple pillars. First, we'll talk about how you prepare your body. Second, we'll get into how to master your environment. And third, we'll cover the simple but absolutely critical act of walking with awareness. All right, pillar number one is all about preparation. Turns out, what you do before you even take a single step can make all the difference in protecting your brain. We're going to focus on two huge factors here: hydration and timing. Okay, get a load of this number. Being just a little bit dehydrated can make your blood about 10% thicker. Now, here's the tricky part. As we get older, our sense of thirst actually gets weaker. So you might not even feel thirsty, but inside, your blood is already getting kind of sluggish and sticky. And that sets off this quiet but dangerous chain reaction. You're dehydrated, so your blood gets thicker. That thick, sticky blood is way more likely to form little clots. And if one of those clots decides to travel up to your brain and get stuck, well, that's how a stroke can happen, sometimes even in your sleep. This was the devastating reality for a man named Mr. Jameson. He was 79, a retired firefighter, super fit, but he just hated carrying a water bottle on his walks. After months of that routine, that chronic dehydration likely caused the stroke that took away the use of his right side. His words here are just so powerful. Now, the other big timing mistake is walking right after a big meal. See, after you eat, your body sends a ton of blood to your stomach to handle digestion. If you go for a walk right then, your leg muscles and your digestive system are basically fighting over the same blood supply. And guess who can lose out? Your brain. The blood flow up there can actually drop, and that's a dangerous situation. So the action plan for this pillar is pretty straightforward. Drink a glass of water before and after every single walk, even if you don't feel thirsty. Give yourself at least 90 minutes after a big meal before you head out, and maybe don't go for a power walk right before you hop into bed. It can mess with your sleep. All right, so once your body's prepped, we move to pillar two, mastering your environment. The world right outside your front door, from the sidewalk under your feet to the sun way up in the sky, has a much, much bigger effect on your stroke risk than you probably imagine. We're going to zoom in on 4 key things out there that can turn a healthy walk into a hidden hazard. We're talking about the sun, your posture, your shoes, and even the hills you might be walking on. First up, let's talk posture. It makes sense, right? A lot of us look down when we walk because we're trying to avoid a fall. But that constant head-down position can actually pinch the major arteries in your neck, slowly choking off blood flow to your brain. There's a story about a retired accountant, Mr. Knox, who did this exact thing after a fall. And the irony is that safe habit is what actually led to his mini-stroke. Next, your shoes. They're way more than just foot cushions. The wrong shoes, ones that are too tight, too flat, with no support, can literally mess with the circulation in your legs. A woman named Mrs. Rohr loved her stylish slip-ons, but they were so unsupportive they contributed to a blood clot in her leg, a deep vein thrombosis that traveled up and caused a small stroke. Brain-safe shoes, they're just not optional.
And what about your route? Walking up a steep hill feels like a fantastic workout. But for older adults, it can cause these really sudden, really dangerous spikes in blood pressure. That puts a massive amount of stress on your arteries, which might already be a bit stiff. It's like pushing your whole vascular system past its safety limit.
And finally, the sun. I mean, we all know it's bad for our skin, but who thinks about the sun hurting their brain? Turns out, years of unprotected sun exposure can cause low-grade inflammation all through your blood vessels. For Mrs. Elaine Madsen, her daily walks in the Arizona sun were a factor in the inflammation that led to her stroke. Her realization is just chilling. Okay, For our third and final pillar, we're going to turn inward. This isn't about your shoes or the time of day anymore. This is about your state of mind and the social safety nets you have around you. This is about protecting your brain from the inside out by simply walking with awareness. You know, a lot of us really treasure a quiet solo walk. It's peaceful. But we've got to ask a tough question. Is that solitude actually putting you at risk? Because when you're all alone, there's nobody there to see the first subtle signs of a stroke when they start to happen. And here's why that's so critical. When a stroke hits, it is a flat-out race against the clock. The best medicines, the ones that bust up clots, have to be given within a few short hours. That's what happened to Mr. Baines. He was walking alone, felt a weird spell, a mini stroke, but he just kind of shook it off. By the time he got help the next day, that precious window for treatment was long gone. And this risk isn't just about being physically by yourself, it's about being mentally checked out. Think about it. When you're totally lost in a podcast or deep in a phone call, your brain's attention is just split. As you can see here, there's barely any mental energy left to pay attention to your own body. That makes it dangerously easy to miss a warning sign like a little bit of numbness or your words getting just slightly slurred. So the game plan here is to build a safety net. If you can, walk with a buddy. If you have to go alone, just tell a neighbor your route and please always have a phone with you. But most importantly, try walking without the headphones sometimes. Just be present. Listen to what your body might be trying to tell you. Whew, okay, we have covered a lot of ground. So now let's pull all three of these pillars together into one simple, powerful plan you can use to make sure every single walk you take is a brain-safe walk. And here it is, your 6-step smart walking checklist. It's simple. 1. Hydrate before and after. 2. Time it right. 3. Walk tall, chin up. 4. Gear up with good shoes and sun protection. 5. Stay aware, no distractions. And 6. Buddy up when you can. Follow these steps, and you transform your walk from a potential risk into a powerful shield for your health. I think this quote from Margaret Hill, an 84-year-old who survived a stroke, just says it all. I was walking toward health, but in the wrong direction. She thought she was doing everything right. This is all about making sure that we are all walking in the right direction towards a healthier brain, not accidentally away from it. And so that brings us to our last question, and this one's for you. Now that you have this knowledge, you have the power to protect yourself. So really think about it. How are you going to make your very next walk a brain-safe walk? Because your independence might just depend on it.